Hello everyone and welcome to another How Lou Sees It review. Tonight I'm reviewing Trash Pandas, the Ruckus Raccoon card game. It is published by Gamewright Games and it is designed actually by Lisa and Michael Eskew and illustrated by Kwanchai Moria. And it is a game for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, with an interesting push your luck mechanic. So let's go ahead and show you what comes in the box and take a look at the components first of all. So the box itself is the same size as a lot of the other Gamewright card games. As you can see there, it has an insert that holds the 54 cards that come in the game, as well as a section up here to hold the 6 wooden tokens and the die as well. So as you come down here, here's a little reference card included that talks about what the different actions are shown on the token and the die. So the die is very, very nice quality. It's indented there with color as well. And the 6 wooden tokens included also have the same symbols. They are painted on these little wood discs. They're double-sided, as you can see, with the same symbols. And these are also good quality. I did notice that the paint had seemed to come off a little bit on this one tree right there. I think that may be from when we have been playing the game. We like to just kind of slide the tokens as we grab them, and so if you're sliding them instead of picking them up and adding them to your pile, you may see some of the paint come off, but really not too bad. But wanted to point that out as well. The 54 cards included are very nice quality, same as always from Gamewright there. The artwork is really fun as well, and it's interesting with a lot of these cards. As this fish card, you can see there's actually a little meeple, and on the pizza there's like a die on the pizza as well, so it's kind of fun as well. I like that. So there's also a little baggie included to keep the tokens in if you want, as well as a one sheet fold out rules. The rules are well laid out. The game is pretty simple. The object of the game really is that we are all trash pandas, or raccoons, and we are looking through trash. In other words, this deck of cards. We are looking through the trash, though, tipping over trash cans, gathering as much trash as we can, but then we must scurry home and hide it in our tree. And the game will end as soon as the last card is taken from this deck and the person has finished their turn. Then we're going to look at whatever cards we have stashed away in our tree, and we're going to score cards based on the majority of those, and whoever has the most points is the winner. So let's go ahead and show you what some of the cards are and what the gameplay is going to look like. So the gameplay for Trash Pandas is really quite simple. On your turn, what's going to happen is you're going to roll the die, and you're going to take that token that matches the symbol that's shown on the die, and at this point you could stop and perform that action shown on the token, or you can choose to roll again. Choose to roll again. If you roll a different icon than you did before, then you'll go ahead and grab that token and add it to your pile. And again, you have a choice of stopping and performing these actions, or rolling again. We got another one. Keep going. Ooh, we got the mask. Keep going. Ooh, I've actually not rolled all 6. Let's see if we can do it. Nope. Okay, so as you can see here, I've rolled the double trash can, and I've already rolled that. So that would be considered a bust unless I had a card from my hand that would allow me to roll again, or to stop and ignore this die. There's a couple cards, we'll show you those. And then you're going to, after you've done that, you're going to resolve the tokens you have. Let's say I didn't have a card though and I busted. What would happen is I would not be able to perform any of these actions, but as a consolation, I do draw one card off the top into my hand. So that does help a little bit. This game is heavy luck because of the die roll and the different cards that will come up through the deck. Playing this a few times, it's really a lot better if you play a little conservatively. Getting 3 or 4 tokens is really to your benefit. Going and pushing your luck beyond that, there doesn't seem to be as much of a benefit. It's just a little bit too risky. But if you have certain cards in your hand, you may want to push and get there. The other, so getting a little ahead of myself, let's go ahead and show you what some of these actions are, and we'll go from there. So this first one, you're going to draw 2 cards from the top of the deck. This one here with the 2 trees, you get to stash 2 cards from your hand. So let's say I had these 2 cards. Well, I can stash up to 2 cards with this double tree symbol. And what that is I just turn these over face down and put them in my stash, a little pile in front of me. Now again, you have to get the cards from your hand into the stash to score any points. This one allows you to either draw a card or stash a card, one or the other. This one here allows you to steal a random card from an opponent. There are cards in the deck, these 2 here, that are defensive cards that block steal attempts, and the dog will block and then they'll get to draw 2 cards, and the kite, that player will block the steal and then they actually steal from you instead. But if you're successful, you can steal cards from other players. And then there's the mask token, which is an interesting one. What happens there is you flip over a card and that will go into that player's hand, but he's going to show everyone what it is, because if they want to, the other players may stash this type of card, a Nanners card, in front of them, face up in their stash. They just put it face up in front of their, on their pile. Then the player who is performing that action is, not only do they get the card drawn into their hand, but they will also get an additional card for each other person who stashed a Nanners card using that. So it's another good way to get a bunch of cards, potentially, but it is allowing your opponents to stash cards as well. Then the last one we have here is kind of a unique one. It is a wild, but not in the sense of you can choose whatever action you want. What it is you're going to actually take this token and swap it out for another token that you did not acquire during your roll phase there. So that's all the different actions. Now let's go ahead and show you the different types of cards that are in the game. Again, as I said before, you really win the game by acquiring the most of each of these types in your stash pile. As you can see here, the shiny, there's only 3. There's a little number that shows you how many are in each, or how many cards are in the deck of each type. And so there's only 3 in the deck. If you have the most, you'll get 3 points. And then a lot of the cards, they have very useful abilities down here as well that you can choose to play and discard rather than stashing them. And so some of them can be very powerful, and knowing when to use these to the best benefit is part of the decision making in the game. So shiny, you could steal a stashed card from another player, which is very useful. It will go into your hand. It can be blocked again by the doggo and the kite cards here. The Yum Yum, you can see these are actually first, second, and third. So whoever had the most, second most, and third most, those are the different point spread for that stashing that type of card. The Yum Yum card can also force a player to continue rolling. So if they're rolling and they have 3 and they're like, oh, perfect, this is just what I need, I'm going to stop. A player could play the Yum Yum card and make them roll again. In this case, they got 1 more token. They're happy. The person who played the Yum Yum card, not so happy. But the Fish card allows them to take a card from the discard pile. The Pie card, you can resolve one of these tokens twice, which is really nice. If you just have no cards, you can resolve this twice and you can draw 4. Or if you have tons of cards, but you haven't been able to stash a lot and you finally got the double tree, you can resolve that twice and stash 4 cards, which can be very game-changing. The Nanners card, there's lots of these in the deck. You get to ignore the last roll and choose to stop, which is very nice. You're like, oh, I have 3, but I really want that double stash. You can roll again. I didn't get it, but I have a Nanners card, so I can cancel that die roll. I won't bust, and I'll still get to resolve those other actions. The Blammo allows you to re-roll the die, which again is nice if you don't roll it what you want, but if you roll it and it doesn't come up what you want again, you're going to be out of luck unless you have a Nanners card where you can stop. The Blammo card is 1 point per Blammo stash, so you're not going to look at majority. Everyone will get a point for every Blammo card they have stashed in their deck. And that is it. These defensive cards do not get you any points for being stashed, and so there's really no point in stashing those. But that's the game. The setup, a little backwards there, the setup is really simple too. The first player will draw 3 cards to start with, the next player 4, 5, 6 in a 4-player game. So yeah, it is a very quick game and it's very fun. I like the point system with collecting these different cards, stashing these cards, and mostly in a secretive manner, right? All of the stash cards usually are face down unless they're being stashed with the mask icon. They'll be stashed face up, but you get kind of an idea of maybe what people are going for depending on really what they choose to play into the middle or discard. So you know, if they're if they're discarding, say, one of the pie cards to resolve a token twice, they may be utilizing it for its awesome ability, and they may not be trying to collect these as much. So they may be looking and going for other cards. So it's almost as if you're looking at what they're not playing to the discard pile for the abilities to get an idea of what they may be trying to stash in their stash. So there is some kind of strategy to it, but there is a lot of luck to it. If someone's just having a bad day with the dice, it can be a little rough for them. They do have that consolation of drawing 1 card, but they're not going to be able to stash a card unless they are successful at getting a stash token and resolving it. Which again, like I said, it's fairly good to be a little conservative based on what the other players are choosing, but there is, you're able to stash with these 2 different icons, plus this one you could swap out. So there is a lot of versatility between the tokens and the actions. It's all just about utilizing the cards that you have and trying to, stash as much as you can into your deck there. So that is Trash Pandas from Game Right Games, a great little push your luck dice card game, and that is how Lou sees it.